Wonderful. So good evening, everyone. I'm Kenneth Aguirre. I'll be chairing this joint MVTC legislative policy and WMATA committee policy all at the same time. Not an agenda, don't worry. We are starting at 7:11 p.m. Meeting, as usual, is being streamed live on our MVTC YouTube page. And WMATA committee chair Matt DeFronti sends his regrets because he is happily with his baby. And we have confirmed to staff that we do have a quorum. So yeah, okay, we're good. We might have others joining us. When they do, we could announce them. And we have a robust agenda, so let's go ahead and hop into it. First item, September 18th, joint committee meeting summary. In your reading materials, please take a look and let us know if you have any questions, comments, concerns. Delegate Mark Sickles joining us now. Nodding heads, I think we're going to be okay with the meeting summary from the 18th. So we can go ahead and move on. Do you want to skip 3? Skip agenda item 3. Hopefully Mr. Letono is on the way. And jump to item number 4, which is a presentation on strategic transformation plan. So tonight we have Mr. Potts and Jamie Rosen from WMATA here to provide an overview of their strategic transformation plan update. You will recall that Virginia requires WMATA to maintain a strategic plan and update it at least every 3 years. This document serves as a guide for WMATA's overall strategy and day-to-day decision making, so it's important we are aware of it. So, Mr. Potts and Jamie.
Thanks very much. So this is going to be fairly brief. Want to keep it short. We know we have a long agenda. So again, I'm Greg Potts with Metro Government Relations, and with me is Jamie Rosen. She is the acting director of special projects in customer experience and transformation department. So she's going to run through the slides. Just some very quick housekeeping, sort of setting the table a little bit. As a reminder, when the dedicated funding legislation was passed back in 2018, it included a requirement for Metro to adopt a strategic plan every 3 years. The first iteration of that, if you recall, it was called the Keeping Metro Safe, Reliable, and Affordable. That was the first iteration. And then when our new Metro GM came in, Randy Clark, he was hired back in 2022. There was a new plan that was adopted under him. That was in February of 2023. So it's required to be updated every 3 years. So that's what we're doing now. And Jamie is going to run through the slides. That was a little context.
Good evening, everyone. Thanks for letting me be with you tonight. So I'm here tonight just to seek your feedback so that we can incorporate any feedback or questions that you have as we develop our final version of the refreshed strategic transformation plan. So as you mentioned before, if you can advance the slide, please. So, it was adopted initially. Our strategic transformation plan, Your Metro, the Way Forward, was adopted in FY23, and this is really about creating a North Star for all of Metro. And it is also best practice for an agency our size to have a strategic transformation plan. And so we set a lot of targets that would be really aspirational, and yet we actually met and even surpassed many of those. And so this is our opportunity to ensure that our strategic transformation plan remains aspirational, and also to align it with the region and the direction that the region and the progress that the region has made in the last 3 years. So moving forward, we have done a lot of outreach as part of our development of the refreshed strategic transformation plan. As you can see here, we've done visioning workshops with the board and staff, and we have some participants sitting right at the table tonight. Thank you for your participation, as well as 40+ interviews with the board and staff, surveys, staff town halls, benchmarking for transit peers, as well as conversational with regional partners and community groups such as this type of meeting. So moving forward, as we said, we set a lot of aspirational targets, and we met and exceeded so many of those. So I'm not going to read all of these, but as a reminder, we've done things such as maintaining greater than 85% customer satisfaction. We have reduced Part 1 crime by over 50%, launched the Better Bus Network in this summer, and reduced fare evasion by rail by about 82% since FY23. And so that's sort of the basis of how much we've accomplished and why we feel like this is also, in addition to the requirements, this is also a really appropriate time to do this refresh. Moving on. So if you think about last time where we were 3 years ago, we were really focusing on back to basics. We had the 7000 series was out of service, so we had very little fleet. We were coming out of COVID and we were dealing with a budget deficit. Whereas right now, we're in a very different situation and have an opportunity to really focus on being a world-class transit agency. So some of the things that we are doing here is reinforcing that ambition to provide world-class transit and also to be the primary connector in the region. Before we were dealing with a budget crisis, now we really want to make this focus on budget part of our DNA and not just something we do when we're in a crisis. So really expanding our focus on financial and organizational efficiency and making that a core goal of ours. And then recognizing that regional partnership and long-term planning, which was really a goal before, is more of a cross-cutting enabler. It's something that goes into all of our goals. It's not just a standalone item. So really making that cross-cutting enabler. We also elevated continuously improving to be one of our core values and are really have a new focus on customer service that you'll see in a minute. We also refreshed as we thought about not just long-term planning and community engagement and regional partnership as part of our activation, but we're also looking at the community engagement and the capital plan as part of our activation as well. And finally, we've really streamlined our priorities and really focused on key priorities and then allowing and enabling and empowering the team to really activate and deliver on all of our ambitions. So with that, on the next slide, we have our refreshed goals. Service excellence and talented teams have stayed essentially the same with just slight updates given the progress that we've made. And then we have the new goal for financial and organizational efficiency, which is to steward public resources and efficiently allocate resources where they drive the most value to ensure service delivery. So this is really focusing on finding efficiencies and pouring those back in to improve our service more and more. On the next slide, you can see the overall framework so this is an image that probably looks familiar if you know our old strategic transformation plan, but with a few tweaks. So you're going to see that continuously improving in the values. You're going to see our 3 core goals with our regional partnership across the bottom with that cross-cutting activation. Moving on to the next slide, thank you. With just a little bit more detail into the objectives underlying each goal. So in this refresh, we focused on objectives and key results for each goal. So the objectives for service excellence have stayed the same, but with updated targets to reflect the progress that we've made. Talented teams is fairly similar, but we're really focusing, this is our internal focus. So recruitment and retention, and also learning and development to create career pathways and train our staff for the long term to have careers at Metro. And also this new customer service mindset that I mentioned. And then our third goal, the financial and organizational efficiency, is looking at that financial stewardship being embedded in everything we do, as well as that organizational efficiency, looking for efficiencies that we can drive back and pour back into the organization and into our service. And our energy management, recognizing that Metro plays such a role in the regional goals towards energy management and recognizing our role in that regional perspective. So we do have in the appendix, if there are questions or if you want to dig more in, we have more about the key results, objectives and key results under these, but to save your time, I'll go into that only as was requested. And so then just moving on to the last slide. So just thinking back to what Greg said at the beginning about how we sort of in the Virginia Code, it says that our strategic plan will do these several things. I'm not going to read them out to you, but you're welcome to read them. But what our plan is to address this is that we are going to be integrating these into the refreshed strategic transformation plan and build on the existing efforts around each of these. So moving forward, we've opened the public comment period. So that opened on October 11th. And so the proposed plan, the current draft is available there, as well as a presentation very similar to this and some other materials. And then we'll be holding a public hearing actually in this building thank you for hosting us on October 30th. And we are aiming for a December adoption from the board. And so I'm happy to take any questions you might have on this, or also if you have any feedback, we would love to take that and incorporate it into the final document.
Yeah, thank you, Ms. Rosen. Just for commissioners' awareness, the public comment period will end before our commission meeting. So this is our opportunity as commissioners to convey verbal comments to WMATA on the strategic plan. I'm going to open it up to the floor. Anybody have any questions, comments? That was a great presentation. Oh, Mr. Snyder.
So I'm a regular Metro Rail rider, and I'm really looking hard to find problems with this strategic plan, and I'm not finding them.
Thank you. I'm glad to hear that.
Thank you.
Quality of service has improved so much in the past 2 or 3 years. The addition of the financial, element to the plan as one of the 3 key things is an important. Now, is this new for this version?
So
I've been in there before.
we had a financial stewardship and financial and energy stewardship, environmental stewardship goal before, but we've really revamped it around this efficiencies and really about not just getting out of the financial deficit that we were in 3 years ago, but again, embedding that into our DNA, that we are constantly looking at how to be as efficient as possible to put all of our resources towards improved service.
What I see as a rider is continued fare evasion. And I know that dramatically reduced it, but I would say 1 out of every 5 trips I make on Metro is somebody leaping over the fare evasion gates. And I never think fast enough to do that. And if I did, I'm not sure I know what I'd do with a photograph. So, and I know it puts the Metro staff in an impossible position if there isn't law enforcement there. Law enforcement has been a very positive element. Yeah, really. I mean, the stations are clean. I gotta tell you, the improvement has been dramatic. I mean, the ability to use credit cards, and I know I'm still in love with my Metro Fare card, but it's staying in my wallet now. And so the ability to use the credit cards has been fantastic. So I'll end where I began. I mean, I'll continue to think really hard, but it's really dramatic, the change, and I'm not sure there's much more that you can do to improve the quality of service for the customers. But I'll continue to think about it. And thanks for the time, Ken.
Mr. Snyder will definitely let y'all know if there's anything else. Any other comments or questions? Mr. Sickles.
One more comment. Continuous improvement is ISO strategy that everyone tries to do, health, safety and everything. And check out. Are you sure your feedback, do you have mechanisms so your feedback loop is, so it'd be good next year to know when you have continuous improvement, what was it specifically that improved from this point, or since the news, when you pass a new strategic plan till next year, and you haven't, or 3 years from now, what is it exactly that happened that was a result of continuous improvement?
And I would say, so that's more about that. That's one of our values, really just embedding that and constantly continuously improving. And to your point, not just saying, well, we've done a great job, we're good, we're done. We can always be striving to be better, and we will continue to have all the reporting mechanisms, and there will be the Appendix A that we had previously with all of our metrics. As I said, we have key performance indicators for all of the goals and objectives. And so constantly reporting on that, and we have a very set reporting mechanism and timeline that we've been working with the board to establish. And so that's where we're going to be constantly showing these metrics. So we've set aspirational goals again. And I hope that we're coming to you again in 3 years saying, well, we met and exceeded them, and we need to update them again. So I think that's really what we mean by continuously improving, is just the fact that we are always going to be, all of our goals are set to be, our targets are aspirational, so that we are continuously improving and moving forward, and not just accepting that we're good enough.
And we do for the board quarterly reporting on performance. That's something that's built in,
Yeah.
and that's related to this. So you always see performance.
Yeah.
Mark, there's been dramatic improvement in the way the senior team and the general manager report back to the board and to staff.
Yeah.
A lot of this work and a lot of the detail that you don't see on this slide set is embedded in work plans or business plans for each of the divisions. And, so it's a much more business-like approach to this. And the KPIs have been really well thought out and developed, and it's come a long, long way.
Yeah.
And it's very informative. And the JCC, you see a lot of it as well. So,
We will be presenting to the JCC next week.
which is all the jurisdiction staff.
But we will be, so in it, we have goal level performance metrics, as well as objective level performance metrics, as well as additional metrics, because we had a lot of metrics in the previous version that we don't want to stop reporting on. And we set internal annual goals, as well as in the strategic transformation plan, we had FY28 goals that we have now refreshed to make them continue to be aspirational in those. So constantly checking ourselves against those.
And Mr. Chairman, I would also, as we have these meetings annually, look to see what Metro's accomplished, next year. So, I think looking over the last year, automatic train operations was a big deal. Tap and go, that's another one.
Yeah.
The increased ridership, is a really big deal. They're
Clean audits.
clean audits,
Yeah.
right?
So we had a
Better bus.
Yeah.
With no additional cost to the taxpayer. So, yeah, I think it's a high bar to keep that amount of momentum going for improvements, but there's still a lot that is going to require capital investment to keep those going. But I think that's the idea going forward.
And we will continue to report on all of that progress.
Mr. Chairman, I had a couple more minutes to think about it, so let me
Told you.
actually, because I use rail and not. We really have to improve bus stops. Some of them are literally just a pole in the ground. People are waiting for bus in all kinds of weather. And I don't want to go and use rhetoric, but we really have to address bus stops. Many of them are literally just a pole in the ground. And that does not adequately serve the people that we intend to serve.
I agree with you, Mr. Snyder. And it's slightly complicated because the cities versus the counties do it differently, and that's not even including DC or Maryland with the stops. But I think it's something that we definitely need to do a better job of taking a look at. I know in Alexandria we've got a dashboard now where we're looking at our different shelters and shelter with an electronic, standby telling you when the next bus comes. I think it's something that is being worked on too.
And that's also incorporated into a lot of what was done with Better Bus as well as B&B Move. So a lot of the bus stops are on the property of local jurisdiction, so it's working with them to improve it. So there's a lot of partnerships that are going on through various groups. So I think they're aware of a lot of the issues and they're trying to work on it for sure.
Better Bus has helped with that, because in order to change all the bus stop flags, we've had to identify all the bus stop flags. So we are doing work. I just know from working on Better Bus and working on that launch, we have been tracking and creating more databases around that information so that we can have better information and therefore better serve that.
Great, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
And also working with the jurisdictions. So that's a big service too. Yeah. Some may not want bus stops. Yeah. Or shelters.
Shelters, yeah.
All right, last call for comments. Thank you so much. So I believe Mr. Alcorn, WMATA is developing its FY27 budget and CIP. Are there any items that you would like to review for the committee?
Just a couple quick things. First of all, the proposed budget for next year out in mid-December for you. So expect that then. One thing that's a little different this year about the CIP, the capital program, is there's going to be two scenarios presented. So there's going to be what'll be called the austere scenario, and that's basically if we get no new funding for capital, and then there's the scenario if we do get additional capital infusion. So it'll really lay out what's going to happen over the next few years with one or the other. And it's just a reminder, because the capital funding that's come in is not indexed, we're basically going to run out of additional bonding capacity in the next few years. So we're really just going to be using all of our capital by FY29 to pay back the existing bonds. So that's going to be a real challenge if we're not able to get additional funding. And then there's also the operating funding issue. I think, as we all remember, with rebaselining, there were some extraordinary measures taken both at the Commonwealth level and at local government level, basically to do that rebaselining and to get the funding in. So that's something that we're going to need to deal with in Virginia. The SJ28 process is looking at that. So it's both the capital needs, and it's also how we're going to be able to keep going with the additional money that we put in during rebaselining on operating. So, and then there's the usual stuff in terms of that we're going to see in the budget. You know, we're going to be looking at a 3% increase, and then we're looking to maintain fares for the next fiscal year, and then look at an increase in FY28. So there are a lot of other details, but those are some of the highlights. Paul, you want to add?
No, I mean, you hit it. I also want people to know that Walter, myself, Randy Clark, our GM, and Valerie Santos, chair, we were down at the Commonwealth Transportation Board meeting on Tuesday. We presented in front of them. It was a good discussion with the board. I think, you know, over the past couple of years, we've made a lot of progress, you know, with the secretary and that group. And I think, you know, in general, I think, Jen, it was fair to say that they were appreciative of, you know, the progress that WMATA, you know, has made on many levels. I think, Kate, you were listening in, and I mean, is that a fair representation? I think
I think it was
yeah.
really solid performance shown.
Yeah.
And I know that the secretary had some fairly positive comments.
Yeah.
Could we get a copy of that?
That's recorded. So.
You can pass along to YouTube.
Any questions for our members? All right. As always, thank you for your service on the board. All right. I'm going to go ahead and move us to agenda item number 5, the METC work towards long-term sustainable funding. We've got 3 sub-items: 5A, which is DMV moves; 5B, which is SJ28, Northern Virginia growing needs of public transit joint subcommittee; and 5C, NVTC's 2025 report on the performance and condition of WMATA. So all these items are related to our work in establishing long-term sustainable funding for public transit in the region. And Mr. DeVetter will provide an update on DMV moves at SJ28. And then Shannon.
It's Adam.
Look,
Actually, Adam.
the Adam on this side, and Shannon will provide a short briefing this year on this year's annual report on WMATA. It has been a long month for me. Mr. DeVetter, over to
It's
you.
a long month for staff as well. These are going to be very brief process updates with the Transfer Center effort to make some remarks for SJ28 as chair of that subcommittee. So for DMV moves, main point here is that DMV moves, like many of these processes, is nearing completion. Timing wise, the next task force meeting is October 29th. That is before the November commission meeting. So we anticipate an opportunity to report out on what the task force has come up with at that time. you'll hear this repeatedly, but there's an investment concept that additional capital funding that Alcorn spoke to with additional DC, Maryland, Virginia funding, some commitments about priority, and then a regional. Right now, they have a draft regional integration action plan. That's a lot of the items you've heard about over the last year that have to do with sort of customer seamlessness and better integration of the multitude of transit agencies. DMV moves recommendations are expected to then go to the WMATA and COG boards in November. So the main point of this process update is to convey that, to remind committee members that the commission took several resolutions back in January and June of this year that kind of laid out some principles. So NVTC staff are going to be kind of watching those processes, and as we get to the November commission meeting and then slated for action in the December commission meeting, we're going to help facilitate a conversation, discussion using those principles, a response for some kind of commission action in December. So just putting that on your radar. It will be a very busy period there, but we're going to help shepherd a response through. A similar process update here on SJ 28. That group has its second to last meeting next week, Tuesday, at the WMATA facility in Andrea. They will discuss transit agency needs, WMATA VRE, on the ride, local bus agencies. Will be a cost containment update, and then just as a reminder, a broad array of revenue estimates were reviewed by that group back in June. This meeting is really to establish the needs, and then November 5th is the last meeting where the subcommittee has the opportunity to take action on recommendations. And again, that happens to be the day before the November commission meeting. Similar thematic concept there. NVTC staff, we have principles we can rely on. We're going to help facilitate that information and discussion for an eventual December commission. Some form of action. We'll know more as we get there, but we'll help facilitate that. So that's the very quick update from me, and I do want to give Senator Evan a chance to convey anything he wishes as the chair before we hand it over for additional staff presentation.
I think you captured it. I do want to thank the staff at MVTC for all the help and everyone who's on the technical advisory committee. It's appreciated, and it's made our work easier to get to a point where we'll be able to come up with some firm recommendations in November. I'm hoping that it'll be out of either a resolution or recommendations that we can then take with some flexibility to the General Assembly and have it General Assembly does to hopefully meet those needs.
Quick question, what time is the SJ 28 on the 21st?
10 a.m.
10 a.m. Thank you. All right, we're going to go ahead and kick it over to Mr. Hager and Ms. Bacon for our WMATA annual report, and then, yeah, take it away, y'all.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So again, we introduced the report last month, and tonight have a final preview before we include a draft document for the November commission in the meeting materials. So I think everyone is largely aware at this point of the code requirements, so I won't rehash those this evening, but with the report being due in mid-December, we'll have a short feedback window after the November commission meeting, and then relay any changes that we make to the document to the committee next month on November 20th. So as we indicated last month, again, the focus of this year's report is support for a long-term solution that reflects MVTC's priority. All that out here, we have a graphic here that again indicates $153 million in operating funding in FY27. Virginia's ability to meet spring obligation. Capital funding in FY8, maintain and modernize the WMATA system.
Is that the total needed or needed from Virginia?
That is the Virginia need for FY27 operating, FY28 capital.
Virginia.
Just in Virginia.
Mr. Chairman, if I could just emphasize something, this does include operating, that's the rebaseline. So, you know, because at DMV moves level, the discussion is, well, we're good on operating, we just need capital money. That's true, but it doesn't account for in Virginia the rebaselining amounts, both at the state and the local level.
So again,
I'd just say too that it's the operating part is not general fund. I mean, non-general fund funded anymore. Non-general funds, gas tax will not pay for that.
Right. Yeah, not enough.
Right.
So to support that solution, again, we document the DMV moves and SJ28 processes and detail the concepts that together comprise WMATA's long-term funding needs. So beyond a long-term solution, there are a handful of key policy issues where we place continued emphasis from prior reports, as highlighted on the slide. Again, nothing new here. These are meant to speak to that state mandated requirement to help WMATA reduce their cost growth and improve the efficiency of their operations. And at this point, unless there are any questions on this slide, I will hand it over to Shannon Bacon, our program analyst, who has played a big role in developing a lot of the content for this report.
Thank you. So this slide just gives a brief overview of the capital program and chapters. These are fairly pro forma. They don't change too much year over year in how we present them, so I'll go through. Up left, to highlight just a few key investments made through WMATA's capital program using Virginia's dedicated funding. The capital program has 6 investment areas. They're pretty robust. We've got rail car and rail facilities, rail systems, track and structures, stations and passenger facilities, bus transit, and business support. So we chose to highlight just a few this year. We discussed the installation of secure fare gates on Metro Rail and new fare boxes on Metro Bus, ongoing signaling upgrades, and the final design decision for the 8000 series rail cars, which we're very excited about. On the data chapter side, again, this doesn't change too much year over year. We decided to really highlight a lot of the incredible ridership and safety and reliability metrics that were provided by WMATA's Service Excellence Report. A lot of those continue to trend positively this year. We also include data every year about fare box recovery and other financial performance metrics that are provided through the FTA. Those have yet to become available. Those are usually kind of later on in October, so we're still waiting on those. That makes sense to report on those. And yeah, it's typical for a bit of a lag in those, but shouldn't be too much longer. Straightforward, and I'll hand it back to Adam.
Yeah, happy to take any questions on the presentation for the report.
Questions? All right, Mr. Hagan, Ms. Bacon, thank you so much. All right, we're going to move to item number 6, which is the draft 2026 MVTT legislative policy agenda. The final item might be the final item.
Made a bad transportation decision. Made a poor transportation decision this evening, so he is on his way.
It took my wife like an hour to get back. So. All right, so the committee reviewed a draft of MVTC's proposed policy agenda at last month's meeting, and Commuter Choice and Policy Program Manager Daniel Nickelbein will brief the committee on a couple of proposed changes from the draft that was reviewed last month.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. So just a few updates to MVTC's agenda since last month's committee meeting. So on the state side, we've added some language in the long-term sustainable funding priority that highlights the $153 million funding gap in FY27 for Virginia's share of WMATA operations. This funding gap was temporarily filled by the Commonwealth for fiscal years 25 and 26. And so this language we've added states NBTC's support for new funding to sustain Virginia's additional investment in WMATA operations. We've also added language around ensuring that a transit funding solution is funded through net new revenues and does not pull from existing sources for transportation. This was added to match language on NVTA's legislative agenda. Slide. So on the federal side, we've made a couple of tweaks for surface transportation reauthorization priorities based on some recent updates from APTA. We highlight the priority of funding transit in a transportation reauthorization bill with growth rates equal to or higher than for highways as compared with funding levels in the IIJA. We've also added a sub-bullet regarding continued support for federal investment in passenger rail that benefits Northern Virginia and the Commonwealth as a whole. Next. And then finally here, just some key upcoming dates. As was mentioned earlier, panel 2 SJ20 be held between now and the November 6th commission meeting. At the November meeting, commission will be briefed on MVTC's ledge agenda, and 2 weeks later, the committee will meet, this committee will meet on November 20th to review commission feedback on that agenda. And the commission will be asked to take final action on the agenda at its December 4th meeting. Next slide. Just a reminder, the legislative forum is Monday, December 15th. This is an event we hold each year in partnership with PRTC and VRE. It is 8:30 in the morning at GMU's Shar School in Arlington. We are very much looking forward to this event again this year.
Any questions for Mr. Kumar? So much. Thank you. All right. Other items. I'm trying to stall a little bit for Mr.
Yeah, I'm trying to check
Lozano.
on his.
I get roasted at a commission.
I feel the roasting would be better at the full commission than at the.
Unfortunately, he's not able to come to the November commission meeting.
Mr.
Chair, if I could, there was a couple actually, so as we mentioned, many of the key dates that are coming up, there's a couple of non-NVTC, non-HJ28 items that are coming that are related to this in the next couple of weeks. I know Delegate Sickles, I don't know if you want to talk about Monday and the House Appropriations Committee.
Star. Monday morning at 10 o'clock, or maybe you're the second presenter.
Okay. Bring snacks.
I'll stream in.
And later in the week, so I'll have an opportunity to share some of the work of SJ28 to the House Appropriators on Monday. And also then to go to later in the week, I will be speaking at the Northern Virginia Transportation Alliance, Everything You Need to Know About Transportation event. Typically, that's actually something where we've had a number of our chairs or what have you. This year, the Alliance has gone a little bit different. They're actually giving an award to the current governor. And then it's Monica and I both providing sort of insights on what are going on. So again, there's an incredible opportunity to talk about what's happening in the transit space. One of the big things, the message that we will be conveying is really the incredible rebound in ridership. There's actually a lot of really good news stories. Obviously, you're hearing a lot about the cost savings and the other things that Metro is doing. A lot of our other systems are doing equally as well. So I really want to share that with the business community, that there's actually a really good thing. There's a really good thing going. There's a really good momentum. Alas, inflationary pressures and other things are making this problematic, and hence sort of the work of SJ28 and DMV moves. So I'll have just a little bit of time, but again, we've done a little bit of touch base with the business industry on this, but this will really kind of go into, SJ28, House Appropriations, there's the Alliance, then there's DMV moves the next week. So there's a lot of things that are very much leading up to that first week of November. And as we said, with SJ28, looking at doing recommendations on November 5th, and the commission here, we plan on taking what we learn and presenting it to get feedback from the commission sort of for a resolution. Granted, it's probably gonna be a resolution that we'll be signing in December, but it will be very much hot off the press from the day before. So I know that's gonna be a busy week for everybody. There's a lot of things that are sort of going on in Virginia that first week of November, but we really look forward to everybody's engagement in that space. And I tried my best to
Stall a little bit.
just a little bit more.
We're gonna take a bio break in a minute. Are there any topics or items any commissioners would like to bring before the committee? Grab bag, share your trip to MVTC today.
I live in an 11-minute walk away from here. So
Weather was nice.
the weather was nice. It was I was all many community events today, so all up and down the corridor.
Very nice.
I took Metro Rail. I took a bus. I've really combined all.
Scooters?
No scooter today. No.
Okay.
Yeah. Truly the multimodal life.
Fortunately, I drove over today. One of those days. One of those days. Do want to remind everybody that our next joint WMATA committee / legislative and policy committee is scheduled for Thursday, November 20th at 6 p.m. Looks like it will be in person. I hope you don't have Thanksgiving plans that early. I will not be here. I will be in Utah, but I will join virtually. It's going to be November 20th, 6 p.m. It's a Thursday.
That's, during the Senate Finance, retreat, so I don't know that I'll be here. I might have to do the zooming in.
Might be missing multiple people.
Yep, so we'll obviously do a
Take a
form
look at
check on that. Yep, absolutely. And again, insofar that, folks are, interested in sharing their thoughts and observations from the recommendations from SJ 28 and DMV moves right on the 6th of November, that actually helps sort of solidify things that we'd be bringing back for a resolution. So that's always I have no problem finding ways to not have a meeting, but I want to make sure we're keep things going forward. Well, Mr. Chair, I have not found our missing board member who we want to celebrate. I can, he may be, but I can tell him to keep going.
And I think we just had another topic we can roast him on.
Yeah, clearly.
Okay.
Clearly. His transportation choices. Should have taken a scooter, would have been. I want to get a feel from the commission members. Do we want to give them 9 minutes? 10 minutes? Or
I think we do it. Let's do it at a future meeting. I'd actually like to do it.
full commission?
To be
Yeah.
honest, because
Yeah.
this almost feels too small.
And this was a challenge we've had
Yeah.
with trying to make the schedule work.
So.
Free Mr. Letourneau, tell him to go home.
Right, turn around.
Now, we do hope to celebrate the new member of Congress at our November meeting. So I do want to put that out there. And his staff has confirmed he's planning on coming.
Last shout out for that joint legislative forum, Monday, December 15th, 8:30 a.m., GMU Arlington campus at Meter Hall. And with that, we are adjourned. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Good job.